Welcome. Welcome to the Rebirth Sessions today. So we start with stillness, with quiet, with a moment of contemplation, and the music is totally contributing to that. The music is there for that, to help you relax and give you a feeling of everything is all right. And then suddenly you can say relax, you can breathe and come to yourself and let all interference go and calm your thoughts and calm your concerns, all of this. So that's great practice. It's great practice. It's like, oh, wow, it's so lovely. Now we can go even deeper within. We have an upcoming contemplation, one more, and it's like, oh yes, we're relaxing even deeper into the withinness. I don't have to tell you this, but it's actually what is going on. It's like there's opportunity to deeply, really deeply open up, and that's it. And then the rest will go by itself. Like the rest is given to you. So beautiful. And it will come. It will just like be there. Suddenly, whoosh, there, something changes, something shifts. And so the only thing you have to do is, in fact, to say like, well, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this, not anything that I can come up with. Not this, not this. Let go, let go. Not this. And the breathing helps really well, because in fact it is like you shift from breathing air or oxygen into almost like breathing light. Well, it's like you breathe light through the top of your head. So this can very well happen during this meditation. You calm down, you relax into it, and you keep, say, in fact, inhaling through your nose, and you think you're breathing with your lungs, but you actually don't. There's all kinds of things different than you think. So this is one of them. It's like, no, of course not. No, there's an energy flow running through you, and this energy flow that is in fact breathing with your spine, you could say. It's energetic. It's an energetic breathing through your spine, the top of your head, light shining out of your third eye, your chest opening up like solar plexus. Like you can call it chakras, but it's more like energy fields within you. So the subtle changes that are occurring in you have everything to do with this. And having to do with it means also that the, say, parts of these energy fields are opening up during the meditation or during our rebirth sessions. And in fact, you go deeper in, deeper and deeper in. And by doing so, you really come to the bottom of it, where there's like, whoa, the deep things of you are there. So finally you come there, you allow the light even to penetrate that. You allow the light to come into your base, into your fundaments, into literally up into your toes. And you feel much of that energy flowing through your toes into the ground or into down below. Because what is the ground? You know, it's like, no, this is all you. So breathing in deeply, first thinking it is air because you're accustomed to that, but in the end discovering it's an energy field, and you literally inhale the light of the universe, you could say, because of course you're part of that. It's your consciousness. And there we go. It's like, yes, wow. So you can feel your head opening up. Like your crown chakra, it opens up, and just by opening your consciousness, suddenly you feel something shifting, in which that is not frightening anymore, but just a, say, delightful occurrence that you have been waiting for. It's like, whew, now it opens up. And then it contracts a little bit, and then it opens up even more. And you come into a feeling like you sink, when you go deeper, you sink first in some kind of emotional. First, you're very much aware of your thoughts, but then suddenly you sink in a little deeper into yourself, and you have this emotional moment in which you feel like gratitude, but like many feelings coming up. And then you stay there for a moment, but you actually allow yourself to sink even deeper than that and come into really deep and quiet place inside yourself, where in fact you want to go more deeper and deeper into that, and inhaling that, allowing that. It's like, in fact, like, okay, and this moment is completely dedicated to truth. Now this is the only thing I want. I like, this is what I'm opening up for. I don't know how to get there, but I want that. I want to know what it means to have a single desire for the Father, and see that is like, it's like something is happening, something is coming to me that I like, that seems and is totally new, always totally new, a total surprise, you could say. So this is a real meditation instruction, you could say. And we enter into a contemplation now. I'm going to share that with you. A contemplation with ideas of, in fact, first of, say, parallels with the world, the sun, snow melting, snowflake, bird, all this. And then it like literally enters into a whole different vocabulary, and you will see how that is for you. That's really beautiful. Okay, so I'm sharing that with you. How mighty can a little feather be before the great wings of truth? Can it oppose an eagle's flight or hinder the advance of summer? Can it interfere with the effects of the summer sun upon a garden covered by the snow? See but how easily this little wisp is lifted up and carried away, never to return, and part with it in gladness, not regret. For it is nothing in itself, and stood for nothing when you had greater faith in its protection. Would you not rather greet the summer sun, then fix your gaze upon a disappearing snowflake and shiver in the remembrance of the winter's cold? All that is asked of you is to make room for truth. You're not asked to make or do what lies beyond your understanding. All you're asked to do is let it in, only to stop your interference with what will happen of itself. Simply to recognize again the presence of what you thought you gave away. Be willing for an instant to leave your altars free of what you placed upon them, and what is really there you cannot fail to see. The holy instant is not an instant of creation, but of recognition.
Laissez-le entrer. Faites de la place à la vérité. Quelle puissance une petite plume peut-elle avoir devant les grandes ailes de la vérité? Peut-il s'opposer au vol d'un aigle ou gérer l'avancée de l'été? Peut-il interférer avec les effets du soleil d'été sur un jardin couvert de neige? Voyez avec quelle facilité ce petit brin est soulevé et emporté pour ne jamais revenir. et s'en séparer avec joie sans regret, car ce n'est rien en soi, et vous ne tenez rien lorsque vous aviez une plus grande foi en sa protection. Ne préférez-vous pas saluer le soleil d'été plutôt que de fixer votre regard sur un flocon de neige qui disparaît et de frissonner au souvenir du froid de l'hiver? Laissez-le entrer. Faites de la place à la vérité. Tout ce qui vous est demandé, c'est de faire place à la vérité. Il ne vous est pas demandé de faire ce qui se situe au-delà de votre compréhension. Tout ce qu'on vous demande, c'est de le laisser entrer. Seulement pour arrêter votre interférence avec ce qui va arriver de lui-même. Simplement reconnaître à nouveau la présence de ce que vous pensez avoir donné. Soyez prêt pendant un instant à laisser votre hôtel libre de ce que vous y avez placé et de ce qui est vraiment là. Vous ne pouvez pas manquer de voir. L'instant sacré n'est pas un instant de création, mais de reconnaissance.
So this came to me. This is from John 2. I'm reading this from my beautiful Bible. I have it for a long time, but mostly use the digital Bible. But here I share this with you. So here Jesus is talking to Nicodemus. Nicodemus answered and said to him, "How can these things be?" And Jesus answered and said to him, "Are you the teacher of Israel? And do you not know these things? Most assuredly, I say to you, we speak that we know and testify what we have seen, and you do not receive our witness. If I told you earthly things, and you do not believe, how will you believe if I will tell you heavenly things? No one has ascended to heaven, but he who came down from heaven, that is, the Son of Man who is in heaven." So it's like the assurance that is here, given here, that I like to share, you could say. It's like the assurance that is given is this, it's like the whole idea is that the one that came down from heaven and found himself here will go up to heaven. Like that is arranged, that is already set. That is not something that needs to be accomplished, that is already given, you could say. And so it's like, it is not that when you do the job right, that you know everything about everything, that you then will ascend to heaven, like you finished your learning trajectory and now you're, passing on to heaven. Like, no, it's actually different. So the one that is you, the one that is in you, you could say, came down from heaven. He came from heaven already and is ascending up to heaven. So this is the the part of you that knows truth is home in heaven. Like he didn't go anywhere. So it was just by some interference pattern that this took place. And you thought for a moment, how would it be to be separate from everything that is? And the moment that you thought that, it was immediately, say, corrected. You can also say it differently, and this is actually only to reassure, and that's this. It's like the whole thing is that the guarantee of heaven is yours. Like the guarantee of heaven is yours because you did not leave heaven. So only in your dream, in your temporary nightmare, you could say, of separation, you thought you would be separate. Now this was an interference. Like it was an interference in terms of suddenly a thing like guilt looked very real. And apparently you got afraid and you started to hide. Then you started to do all kinds of things to avoid, some kind of God who's going after you to get you or something. I don't know. It's like, but we all recognize those feelings, and so that is based on a mistake. So you could say that is the total interference of when you have a total recognition with deep inside of you. Now this is, of course, interesting to see how this transformational process is going, and not to observe it or anything, but it's more like slowly but certainly all the things that seem to be interfering with recognizing truth are relinquished, are like letting go of, are disappearing, are dissolving. And as fast as you can, or as slow as you want, it's the same idea. It's like, you determine the pace, the speed in which that goes. Now that is something that you see in what we read or what we listened to in the meditation. It's like, well, there's nothing going to be taken away from you. Obviously not. Because that what you believe yourself to be isn't it, and you start to recognize that. So you have already different experiences in which you start to question what is real. You start to question, like, this is my dream. You start to question the reality of that. You cannot make it to a reality of you all the time. Sometimes you slip into it and thinking it's very real, but then when you meditate, when you become quiet, when you do your exercises or your mind training, suddenly you recognize, luckily it is not the truth of me. So it's like these. It's so interesting for me to look at the transformational process in that, because what the thing is that you can't avoid going through stuff. It just keeps coming up. Like I recognize myself to go through something today. It's like, wow, that's so intense. I have no idea what that is. So what is then actually occurring? Am I not doing it right? Am I blah, blah, blah? I can question everything, of course. But no, you're undergoing the process. And it is guaranteed that it will succeed. Like it doesn't depend on your activities, in fact. Like it's not a matter of your doing. No, it is more like you allow this process to happen. And you go through all kinds of things, and you can feel very much like having deep feelings or deep doubts or deep whatevers, but also like, of course, your moments of happiness in which suddenly that all dissolves and you are like full of light. But basically, you're going deeper within, just like I said in the beginning, with this energy flow through your system, through your body memory, you could say, that the light, let it in, it's like the meditation, let it in, let it in, let it in. So you breathe and let it in and allow this healing to occur, whatever that means, however that is going to look, it doesn't matter. Because you're just willing to undergo this process. That is what is going on. And that's all that is required, in fact. You going through your process. You stick with your practice, just to stay in at least in contact with the fact that you're undergoing a process of transformation. And here we go. Like, oh yeah, all right, well, this is totally disruptive today. This is so intense, so I have no idea. Or I have a headache from here to, my God, that's so intense. Now what? Like, okay, well, that will pass too. It will shift, it will change. So allow that to change, allow the shift to occur. That's perfectly all right. Like, it will change. And so don't hold on to anything. You just signed up for this whole process to undergo this. And so, like I said, it is, you stay right here and you see that there's an end to that. Suddenly it shifts. How did that happen? It doesn't matter how that happened. It did happen, and it has an actual, say, seeming effect on you, because you suddenly feel that something is lifted off your shoulders. Or you can suddenly breathe deeply in a way, or suddenly you sleep at night really well, or who knows how the result will be. So this is all part of this, and of this individual process of transformation that is occurring in you. You start to see that you're literally everything. You cannot point with your finger to anything. No, it's always like, no, it comes back to you. Like, where can you go with it? No, nowhere. So it's like, it can be converted in you, and this is what is happening. It's a conversion process, a physical conversion process. Oh, continuously. Oh my God, now this, now that, and then this. And suddenly that's gone again. Like, wow, such a great, wow, opening. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. And there you go again. The next moment it can be totally different. And we say then sometimes it's like a roller coaster ride, but yeah, it's a bit like that. But it will say it gets easier. It gets easier. And now it's not, say, in sort of moment of your of your transformational process, you discover that you don't have to react to how you are feeling in order to stay with your practice and your that what comes to you, that way you are looking for it. So you keep still going within and breathing in and relaxing into that, and not responding immediately, but letting that letting it happen and feel. Like, I get instruction on a moment by moment basis. You get, in fact, instruction if you listen. So it's like, you feel when you have energy to do something. You feel when suddenly something opens in which you can step right into it. Or you feel that now it's all quiet, it's all still. Now I'm sinking deeper into myself, taking an extra time for myself to go within. And let's practice. Let's repeat some phrases. Open up the Bible and start reading the New Testament for a moment. Wow, so incredible. So it's like all these possibilities are given us to stay on track, to stay in fact centered in this light, and that's a constant reminder. That's one thing, of course, but it's also very inspirational. Like, it's continuously fed, you could say. If you stay right there, it's continuously something is coming to you that you didn't see before, heard before. I was like, wow, I find myself reading this. It's amazing. I suddenly find this poem of Rumi, or I find this poem, like I found a poem of Rumi. I'm going to share it with you. So it inspired me too to connect it to a song. But I will share the poem. So I don't know why this came to me, but I love it. Bird's wings. Your grief for what you have lost lifts a mirror up to where you are bravely working. Expecting the worst, you look, and instead, here's the joyous face you've been wanting to see. Your hand opens and closes, and opens and closes. If it were always a fist or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding. The two is beautifully balanced and coordinated as bird wings. I'll do it once more. Bird wings. Your grief for what you have lost lifts a mirror up to where you are bravely working, expecting the worst you look, and instead, here's the joyful face you've been wanting to see. Your hand opens and closes, and opens and closes. If it were always a fist or always stretched open, it would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding. The two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as birds' wings. This is the bird's wings. Like it's always like a movement, a contraction and an expansion. And so it is with you, like whether that's emotional or whether that is physical or whether that is, maybe that goes further than you think. It's like it's always, and then it can go, it's really, yes, it opens up. You go within and then, it's like there's a movement in that. It's so beautiful to recognize, and you can actually feel that. So it's also part of your spiritual experience, and for sure. It's like there's a moment of really going deeply within, and suddenly something is lifted. It's like, a release, an expansion of your consciousness. So this is all part of that. Like, you recognize these subtle changes within you, or maybe they're not subtle at all, and you just shift into openness, and then something can happen. Then you let it in. You have let it in. Suddenly it takes you. You have let it in, and it will take you. It will bring you, like you came down from heaven, so you go up to heaven. Is that an unnatural place? No, not at all. It's a natural place. You're very familiar with it since you came down from it. But that's not the you we think you are. That's the difference. So it's not the you that you think you are, but you can definitely experience it. Now this, I wanted to share this with you, and as a very gentle, in fact, invitation to let it in. To just let that happen, to see that that is so natural, just as the flying of the birds, you could say, as the flying of the geese, and knowing exactly where they're going. It's like, do they have to think about that? No, not at all. Do they have to fight about who's flying first or who's behind them? No, absolutely not. No. It's one beautiful, say, energetic movement into every, it's like it communicates as one. That is the loveliness. And you, say, being a total part of this, can allow that flow, that the geese, you could say, trust totally. You can trust that too. So it's like, you can trust that flow that's coming in. Oh, I need to rest. Okay, you go rest. Now you contract, you could say, you go down into your depths, and suddenly you go open, and you feel energy to do and to go and to get started and all this, like that. So it's really beautiful to see this occurring, and to recognize it in yourself as that, what is your most precious activity, you could say, as in your experience of yourself. It's very precious to do it like this and recognize it. All right, so I wanted to give that. See, and one thing in the poem of Rumi that I shared was this, of course, the idea of grief. It's like you grieve, you contract inside yourself a little bit because of what you feel. And suddenly you're actually watching a mirror. Like inwardly, you're actually watching a mirror. And you expect something to see. You expect more darkness and more contraction and more, deep feelings of loss or whatever it is. But the deeper you go, suddenly you see a shining face that is literally the one that you wanted to see. And here it is. It's like that is how this works. You could say you sink deep into layers of yourself. It seems like a contraction, but actually no, you're making a deep contact with something within you that is literally that is. And that is your heavenly reflection. That is you. So that is really beautiful. And the poem was something I found, and it is like that's inspiring to see it as a contraction and expansion. You recognize it as the bird's wings, and that's perfectly all right. Like that's totally in balance. Not only the birds in itself, but also the whole flock. You could say the flock of geese that are flying, or the whatever. kind of bird it is, it doesn't matter. But they do that as one. They know. They don't wonder, they don't ask questions about that like we do. So the question is the interference, the doubt is the interference, the guilt is the interference, on and on and on. So release that, release the guilt, release all that, and suddenly you find yourself looking into a bright mirror. All right, so I wanted to share this with you. We're going to the second part of this meeting, and which is the non-public sharing, and can't wait for that. So thank you so much for joining so far, and see you soon.